Life. What is real anymore? It's time to pull back the curtains of reality and explore life in the hologram. We've unlocked our library hidden deep within the matrix and are ready to take you on a tour of the cosmos. Come in as we discuss everything from spirituality, psychics, healers, ghosts, as well as UFOs, and the unknown. It's time to forget what you think you know and explore life in the hologram.
Oh, that was quick. It always happens so suddenly. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. It's a good something somewhere in the universe as we speak. And welcome to Life in the Hologram on Friday, March the 15th. And I think it's the Ides of March.
Mm.
And we're here with Caroline Bell Tumblety and Madeline Rudy. And we have a fabulous guest today. And I hope everybody's doing well, because what I'm looking at, it looks like the world is going Canta Luna backwards and forwards, and nobody knows where they're at. But we have a card that I pulled, and it's the fox, the clever fox. You are swift and smart. Solutions to perform are easily found. Always listen to your first instincts. Resources surround you. Be open to romance.
Fox. I like foxes. Yeah, I do. I really like foxes.
Yeah.
Like, I have a really nice cushion that's kind of velvet and it's got like the fox on it. I really like it. The little country fox, like they have like patterns here with the fox. So how's your week been, Madeline?
Oh, exciting.
How so?
Well, as we were talking before we got on to the show, I got some nice people decided that they wanted my money out of my bank account to go into their pocket. So that was exciting yesterday.
Wow, that's horrible. That's horrible.
I'll get my little pittance of money back, and then all will be well with the world.
How's everything else? How's the grandkids, the great grandkids?
Oh, they're doing well. They both had haircuts this week. We went
nice.
We went to their mother works at an Irish restaurant, so they had kids' night. So we went up to the restaurant and they had a lot of fun doing different things.
So it's St. Paddy's, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, St.
Sunday.
Patrick. Yeah, that's right, 17th. Like, I thought it doesn't change its date. Is it always the 17th?
Yeah.
Yeah. I must have been in a different timeline or something, because I used to think it was the 15th.
I don't know where I'm at either. I'm giving people dates to come on the show, and then I give them the wrong date, and I got to type it back. I said, you know, I don't know what I'm doing.
Yeah, you do. And you do it really well.
Well, but things aren't going.
Sometimes they don't, you know. Sometimes
and then my eyes don't want to stay open.
You're tired. You know, I had talked to Solaris yesterday. Did you see the snowstorm she had?
Oh, my God, yeah. She's, what, 4 feet of snow?
And it was still coming down. And she was sending me pictures, and it was like, oh, my goodness. Like she was sitting there shoveling. But wow, okay. Let's say we have an awesome guest here today, and I have been talking to David Morgan for, I don't know, I think I started talking to you maybe August last year. And basically what it was, listeners, was I was on Facebook one day, and a page came up that I hadn't seen before, and it was Awen Spring, and I clicked on it, and I was reading the post, and I immediately, like, it was just an intuitive thing. I immediately, like, sent a message to David and invited him onto KCOR, because that was where I was at that time. And what happened was I was also messaging a couple of other people to kind of set up the times. And I realized that I had sent the wrong text to David. And I was like really apologizing, really. I was like, I'm so sorry. Like I had 10 texts going at once, and we kind of we set up a time to kind of talk. And I really find his work we're living in such tumultuous times that it just feels really refreshing to come across somebody who is doing their own research. It's through their own experience, and it's really wonderful. Like I get a lot of joy out of reading them. And now he's branched out. He's on YouTube, so I think you've got maybe about 5 videos up there. So you can find David on Awen Spring, and it's Awen Spring YouTube. That's the YouTube channel. Also, he's on Rumble, and again, it's Awen Spring, and it's Awen Spring, Spring, and Facebook's the same, Awen Spring. You know, it's basically for his own experiences and research. He's a researcher of ancient history and the esoteric, specialising in anatomical allegory. Yeah, give me like some tongue twisters and I'll definitely mess them up. And a creative energy work to help uncover the true potential of the human body. So I'd like to welcome David. Welcome to
David.
Life in the Hologram.
Adeline.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, tell us all about how this came about, David. This is exciting.
Well, it all started, I suppose, around in about 2012. So around that time, the basic research started. It was part-time, to be honest, to begin with, and, very sporadic. But it was basically into the esoteric, the mystery schools, tradition in general, mythology. That went on for a number of years, and then around 2017, I got out of work through illness, so it became more full-time. I started to really concentrate and really put a lot of time into reading, listening, learning. I got into Tai Chi and Qigong in a big way to help with my my physical problems I was experiencing at the time, health-wise.
Mm-hmm.
So then that sort of molded in with my esoteric research and the research into the mystery schools, and obviously my own health and my own bodily functioning come into it. And it all sort of come together, and it was I was noticing like there was a lot of subtle symbology and allegory, anatomical allegory, that was a match then between the fairy tales, mythologies, legends of old, and the functioning of the body in energetic ways, like personally it was through Tai Chi and Qigong and yoga. Mm-hmm. So that was the sort of marrying of the two. Obviously there are a number of books about this as well, that I was reading up on at the time. And yeah, that's when it started, 2020. Then I was really sort of started writing on Facebook, doing the posts and things. And I went on from there, basically. So it was the energy teachings that really sort of drove me forward. Personal energy and the creative energy. And it's the sexual energy is another, way of saying it. I say the creative energy, because I see it as an overall sort of energetic force, and the sexual energy is just one small part of it, but the main part, but the part we can harness and put to work in the most powerful way.
Well, one of the things that I really like about what you're doing is that you've referred to it as the ancients. You're basically talking to the ancients, or the ancients are talking to you. When you're looking at, for instance, like the statue of Moses, you have a video on that.
Yeah, well, I've got a few videos on Michelangelo's work and his artworks. So in my research, I sort of the research is about allegory as well. So anatomical allegory, so the body and the hidden sort of threads throughout mythologies, fairy tales, the artwork, architecture. So Michelangelo was one that I noticed. There was an article in the American Medical Association journal, I think, by Dr. Frank Meshberger, talking about the brain being featured in The Creation of Adam, which is Michelangelo's masterpiece on the ceiling of the Sistine Chapel. So I was looking at that, and I agreed with everything that was said there. You know, the sort of the cloud that God is floating in. It's like a sheet, and it's in the shape of the human brain, basically. But yet the anatomy of it as well is broken down: the pineal gland, the pituitary stalk, infundibulus stalk, the corpus callosum. There's a lot of detail in there, symbolic detail. So, but I notice as well that there's a flash, like a green flash, running from where the symbolic pineal gland is, which is called they've called it the vertebral artery, I think, in other research. But I've connected it to the soma, or the amrita from the Vedic teachings, the fluid that runs down the back of the throat when the head center is awakened from the Kundalini awakening. So I linked that to that. The hand signs as well, which I go into in depth, the different types of hand sign. Michelangelo does like the shin hand sign a lot, which is difficult to explain now, but it's the ring finger and the middle finger together, and the other finger is separated. But that hand gesture featured in nearly every one of his major works. So it's in the Moses, statue of Moses. It's in the Creation of Adam, where the two hands are touching with the index finger. It's in the Pieta, I think, which is the pity, which is Christ, and being held by the Great Mother, Mary. And it's, in my opinion, it's on David as well, when David is holding the sling. His statue, Michelangelo's statue of David, the sling hand is it's very subtle, but because it's so prevalent in his artwork, I think, I think it is that he's still given that hand sign, which I interpret as the fire sign. So it's the sign of life, the fire of life, basically, and the energetic. That's the energetic interpretation of it. But on this statue of David, his right hand is pointing to a place on his leg, which is an energetic center. It's called the Feng Chi point in the Far East, in the Meridian system. I can't remember on the Nadi system of the Vedic traditions, but with the hand sign pointing to the energy of life, and obviously the right hand pointing to this energetic pressure point, that connection was made. But then I'd also noticed in the Creation of Adam, the right hand of God, I think is his right hand, the right arm of God, which is in Dr. Meshberger's description, he describes it as the corpus callosum of the brain.
Mm-hmm.
So this right hand comes over the shoulder of a female figure, and it points to a certain point on a cherubim's neck, and that again is an important energy center. It's just an important energy center, but in the Far Eastern system, in the Meridian system, I think it's the Qi point, or the abode of Qi, the abode of energy, and it's a really sensitive energy center. And then, I mean, that's enough. That would have been enough for me. But then if you look at Sophia's hand, her index finger is pointing to a point on the forearm of God. And that is another really sensitive energy center, which is called the Kuchi point, which is called, that's the pool of Chi, I think. If I get that right, I'm not sure. But, you know, these things were really like mind-blowing, but then I realized that, you know, Michelangelo is a sculptor and an artist. These energy points would have been of particular interest to him, because heavy hammers and chisels all day, every day, you know, when you press these points, particularly the Kichi point, because you've got the brachial plexus coming down, and, you know, the cervical plexus, the brachial plexus, you've got the phrenic nerve, but the brachial plexus activates and animates the hand and the shoulders and the arms. So when you get pain and stiffness in these, which I suffered from, this helped me a great deal as well, which was synchronistic.
Maybe you got carpal tunnel.
Yeah, but you know, I realized that, you know, he must have known these
points,
energy points, and that's why he's highlighted those two particular points. But the other thing is that when you access certain energy points, when you're working with the creative energy, so when you've awoken the Kundalini through semen retention and through creative energy work, working with the sexual energy, you open up the sinuses within the brain, and then you get this release of fluid. So when you press certain energy centers, like you've got the Hegu between the thumb and the index finger, and you've got different energy centers, sometimes you can feel your sinuses opening. It's like, you know, you've got the nasal sinuses open. But in my own opinion, and I think from like the research in the Vedic traditions, the sinuses of the brain, because not many people know you have sinuses in the brain as well. A lot of them got the superior sagittal sinus, the inferior sagittal sinus, transverse sinuses, the sigmoid sinus, and you've got the cavernous sinus that surround the pituitary gland. So when you are accessing the creative energy through acupressure at these sensitive energy points, you get a release of stagnation and accumulation within the sinuses of the head. And that's, again, what I think Michelangelo was alluding to with the green flash. It could be the vertebral artery as well. But I've got more detail to go into that in a later video. So I wouldn't want to go too far. But that's what I think it is. It's the release from there, the brahmacharyas and the Brahmins from the Vedic traditions would have called it the Amrita or the Soma, and it's also called the Homa, I think, in Zoroastrian traditions, Homa. And I would relate it as well to the ichor of the Greek gods, the nectar of the gods.
Yeah, the elixir,
Yeah, the ambrosia of the gods. So it's all the same, like the manna from heaven in the biblical traditions as well. So it comes down from the head center. It comes through a thing called the cribriform plate, which is a plate just above the nasal cavity. And it separates the brain from the nasal cavity, basically. And you've got the olfactory bulbs, which give us our sense of smell, that area. So that's how we smell things, basically. It goes up through the cribriform plate, full of blood vessels, and it goes up into the olfactory bulbs and straight up into the cortex.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the only cranial nerve that does that. Everything else goes through the thalamus. So the olfactory bulb goes straight into the cortex. But obviously it's a porous material.
Mm-hmm.
It goes both ways, it's not only the smell going in. This is being taken advantage of now by some modern medical procedures. They get sprays and stuff that go straight up, so it goes straight through the blood-brain barrier, basically. Right. But obviously it works two ways, and that is what this is alluding to, I believe. And this is what like the Yoga Sutras and the Vedic and the Taoists were talking about it as well.
Mm-hmm.
It was worldwide, as far as I am concerned, this knowledge, and this is another point I'm trying to make with Michelangelo's work, that, they knew back then. It was just very subtly portrayed in artwork, mythologies, fairy tales, for the people who know, it's like sort of supporting those people.
Confirmation,
It's a way of teaching, like this sort of artwork is like, they call it didactic artwork, I think it is, which is a form of artwork which teaches. Yeah, so that's the Michelangelo. It's in all of his artwork, and I go into detail on that in my videos, into more detail. Like I said, it's the Feng Shui point on the leg with David, the statue of David, and that's another really sensitive one. And it doesn't have to be these exact points.
Right.
They say I'm not suggesting that Michelangelo was using the meridian system or the Nadi system and Mama system of the Vedics, or on the far the Taoists, the meridian system. I'm suggesting that this knowledge
was universal.
Wide, and it makes just common sense, really, because no one was watching TV or distracted by work. Everyone was in tune with their body, and it was important to them.
Well, don't you think too that a lot of families knew a lot of this information, so that if a family member got sick, that they could help them with whatever was going on? I know when I learned shiatsu, and that's the acupressure points in the body, the whole family knew shiatsu.
Right.
And they would work on one another if they got sick. But, here it's like, here, take a pill.
Yeah. And I think it was oral tradition as well. So these things were passed on from parent to child and from master to student. And that was lost,
Yeah.
with the advent of writing and things. But that's another sort of rabbit hole to go down. But yeah, absolutely. It was family traditions and small community traditions. Without a doubt.
Yeah. And then somehow along the way, everybody got their tail feathers in a ruffle and didn't want that information shared.
Yes, that did happen. Yeah, that definitely happened. Yeah, I mean, like, the idea that this information, because I think what's happened to a lot of people is they need alternatives, they need choices, they need to actually, like, when you say to somebody, how well do you know your own body? Like, you're basically relying on somebody else to diagnose you, and also, like, whatever the healing system is that they're working with. Whereas I believe that it is actually possible for us to be so tuned to our bodies that it's not a mystery. It's no longer this mystery that is just for, like, academia. And I'm not saying that there isn't any wonderful breakthroughs in the medical profession. There are, but people need the power back over their own bodies. And that's why I really like what you're doing, because it's not going to cost anything for anybody to, like, look at a painting and and to start asking questions like why is that hand, why is it like that, and why is it on a certain piece of the body, like, you know. And that's what I like, and you do that with your videos, like you actually you weave in other traditions, other things to back up what you're saying. Yeah.
Yeah,
And
I guess confirmation. So
mm-hmm.
it's like a double whammy, I would call it. You know, where it's like you're experiencing it, and you're looking back at your ancestors' artworks and the artworks of the ancients and seeing it. So it's like double confirmation, in other words, in a way. And as far as I think is a balancing point between modern medicine, which is obviously excellent, and the ancient ways of being in tune with your own body, but also heightening your nervous system, and that's done through semen retention or chastity, celibacy until the life partner is found. You know, then it's different. But yeah, that you heighten up your nervous system, you've become more in tuned, more sensitive to these energy points, because that is what happens anyway, from my perspective, and from what I have read, and from what I understand, and from what I think the ancients were trying to teach, is that you heighten your nervous system through this work. I call it the great work. And then the energy centers become more sensitive, and you can access these energy centers, and you keep the energy circulating and moving. And that's what I think the ancients were alluding to in all of their allegories, mythologies, fairy tales, their artwork, the architecture. It's in everything. But I would say that there's 3 layers. This is sort of my basic fundamental understanding, and the way I approach it is that they've done it in a sort of a trinity, which the ancients loved the number 3 anyway. So it's the astronomical allegory, which is the stars, the heavens, the terrestrial allegories, the world, the way we interact with the world, and then the anatomical. So it's the astronomical, terrestrial, and then the anatomical. And the anatomical is obviously the most important for the individual, because that's the one they can test. I mean, we have to take certain things for granted on all the other fronts. But the anatomical allegory, we can look at the ancients and listen to their teachings and look at it and the way they taught and the way they presented things, and we can experience it if we just follow some basic fundamental sort of steps. You know, just basic, keeping your diet correct, your environment correct, your education, your practices, and all these things will lead then to a more heightened nervous system and to a better connection then with the natural world, with the energies, bioelectricity. That's the way I approach it on the anatomical scale, and that's the way I think the ancients approached it. I'm not saying that they knew exactly what bioelectricity was, but to them, I think it was the ether, the prana, the shakti.
Life force,
the chi, the chi. In Welsh, it's Awen, the Awen.
Right.
The Imbas in Irish. I mean, there's loads, the Sila, I think the Inuit call it. There's loads of different names for the same thing. So it's the subtle life force, basically. And I call it the creative energy. Because it's the energy of creation, obviously, which ties in with the sexual energy, but the overall energy as well.
Like we might feel like it might look like we've kind of lost our way, like when we look at the world at large, but the help is at hand. Like it's there if we really want to look. And the best part about the work you're doing is the experiment can be done on self. Like the work that you will do you will see your results, and therefore and also there's so many jump off points for what you're sharing. Like somebody could go in another direction and research something from what you're sharing, like there's so many places to jump off.
I try and leave things open a little bit. So I try to give information which all sort of lines up then and matches, is going in the same direction, from my perspective. But obviously I leave sort of things open for people to interpret in their own way as well, and put it together in their own way, which I think is always better. It's a better way of learning, so then you feel as if you're making. That's the way I like to learn. Is putting things together yourself.
Oh yeah,
so I just try and give main points and directions, and then obviously there's like you say, there's all sorts of avenues to go down. Then you can go down the etymological route, or the words and the languages. That ties in then with the energetics and the creative energy, the sexual energy, the semen retention. Ties in with the human body. You can go down the historic work, the artwork, or the fairy tales. So
also numbers, like you said that they love the number 3. Like
3, the triads. Welsh have the triads, the Trinity, the Trimurti, Tridevi, Deva, Tridevi, in the trigrams of the I Ching in the Far East. So the number 3 is all through. The number 40, number 42 in Egypt. There's lots of numbers. 30.
And then the sounds.
Then you've got sounds.
Yeah.
Yep.
The vowels, isn't it? The vowels is a good one. Yeah.
And then you've got colour. You've got colour as well. Like these are all vibrations. Yeah.
And even the body itself, it's just, if you sit back and think about it, what your body does every minute.
Yeah, it's miraculous.
That you don't even have to think about it. Your brain's, doing this, doing that. Your heart's doing one thing. Your lungs are doing your stomach.
Yeah.
It's
amazing.
Yeah, it's the nervous system.
Yeah.
The human nervous system. That's what I talk about. Yeah.
It really is. It really, when you just think about it, like sometimes when I'm sitting and I'm doing like a breathing, I love breathing.
Yeah, if you're not breathing, you're dead.
But there's something so like just that.
It's an important thing.
It really is, and I'm not being funny. Like I really love breathing. Like when I get in here,
Well, that's good.
It is good. Oh. Well, the other thing that I have talked to you about is the importance, there is a routine, I'm no one for routines, but I do recognize that there are beings who are, and it is necessary. Like if I want to learn something, I will do a routine until I get it. But I think it is important. Like we have talked about, watching what you're bringing into your body. Your thoughts.
That's I think it more important than food.
Oh, you can bless your food. You can change the energy of your food.
Yeah.
With your attention. So, thoughts. What are some of the things that you do, David? For thoughts, to kind of get them into.
I don't really do a lot. I do some sort of memorization. If I hear or read something that attunes with me, I read. I memorize what I've read, or I memorize what I've heard. So I do that quite often, and then I will go over those. So memory is a good thing, fortify the memory, which gives you, well, it protects against all sorts of things. We've got Alzheimer's and Parkinson's and all these things on the rise. And so, yeah, memorization I do a lot of. I do some mantras, but not, I don't do a lot. I think I know 1 or 2 mantras. But yeah, as far as that goes, I mean, diet, environment, like I spend quite a lot of time on my own, basically, in isolation. So, and this is what the ancients, I believe, were talking about. This is why my voice is a little bit funny as well now, because I don't speak a lot, to be honest. But yeah, so that, and I take that as environment. So to have a peaceful environment and to become at rest and at peace with yourself, and so and breathing, really oxygenating the body, alkalizing the body. Yeah, there's a lot of different ways to, and this all sort of helps with memorization and keeping the mind focused and centered. So, and practices would be the memorization and the mantras. And
it's all about balance. Yeah, it's a balance.
Environment and diet as well helps with memorization and with clear thinking, basically.
Yeah. Did I hear the dogs in the background there, Madeline?
You did.
Madeline's got these big German shepherds.
Yeah, they're wonderful dogs.
My son has them.
Yeah.
The one guy's like a pony.
He really is. Every once in a while she'll post a picture up on Facebook and literally he takes up a 3-seater from one end to the other.
He comes out to the kitchen, he can set his head right on the kitchen table.
Wow. Good dogs though. Good protection. Yeah.
Yeah,
I don't know how protected they are. I walk in the door and the dog.
They know you.
The
That's because they know you. They're like, yeah, it's Madeline.
Oh, she's home.
Super sensitive, though, dogs, aren't they? Really sensitive creatures.
Yeah. Or you know that something's in your neighborhood when they all start going off. Like, it's like a chain reaction. They all start like barking. It's the same, like what I love about my cat is he will just sit and stare, like what I think is nothing, but he's watching something, he's got his eyes on something.
There's where my granddaughter lives, there's the guy that lives like a door away from her, and he has this big black cat that he takes for a walk.
Ooh, lovely. Some people do that, there was a gentleman.
I saw 2 people in her neighborhood doing that.
Doing that, yeah. There was a neighbour that I had, and I haven't seen him right enough in a while since they started digging up over here. But he had a West Highland Terrier and a cat, and neither one of them was on a leash, and they walked with him every morning.
Well, that's amazing, isn't it?
It really is. It really is amazing. Like,
I don't know how they train that, except for giving them treats.
Don't know. It's all about trust, I would think.
Or, if they have problems and they want to stay right close to them.
Maybe.
They won't leave their side.
Yeah. So, like, back to talking about the creative energy. Like, it's the other word that they will use is the bioelectric.
Bioelectricity is
bioelectricity. Right.
I would. That's my interpretation. So in the modern understanding, bioelectricity is being found in sort of very cutting edge science to be at the root of life, basically, and at the root of cells, the mitochondria within the cells. It's all bioelectricity, and through like chemical and electrical phenomena.
What is it, frequencies?
Well, it's bioelectricity as far as I'm aware. I mean, there's a guy called Michael Levin who's doing excellent work. It's like a cellular biologist, I think, and the bioelectricity is being shown to sort of, in a way, guide life and the blueprint of life and the formation of cells into our, or into whatever structure the DNA is there trying to make. You know, so the DNA is basically building blocks, but it's being guided in a way. That's how I see it, as the bioelectricity. This goes back to like I think Rupert Sheldrake's morphic resonance.
Oh yeah, I'm familiar with that.
And I think there's creative evolution by Henry Bergson, I think, and there's a few, you know, which all go into this idea. But from my perspective, the work of like Michael Levin now is sort of confirming all these things in a scientific way, you know, and I would relate it back to the Shakti, the Kundalini, the Prana, the Chi, the Ki, you know, the Awen, the creative energy, the energy of life, the ether, which was, you know, really prevalent just before, you know, the disastrous First and Second World Wars, you know. So it's all coming back now. I think it's going to be proven through modern science, which is wonderful, you know, which is a wonderful way. I mean, it's really worth looking into the bioelectricity work of Michael Levin. I mean, he cuts off the heads of planaria worms, and he cuts the head off and then regrows it by putting a certain electrical charge on. And then he cuts two ends off and he grows a double-headed. So he's showing that it's the electrical charge
that's doing it.
Determines what grows. So it's either a plus or a negative charge. So the electrical charge is actually forming the head. You know, he's doing this with eyes. He's throwing eyes in certain locations through a certain electrical charge. You know,
well, that's interesting, huh? If he's doing it, who else is doing it?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
That's the scary part.
But it's really interesting because it sort of shows that it's
we can regenerate
bioelectricity guiding the morphology of our bodies and of life in general.
That's a little bit how those new, what the heck are they called?
Bioidentical? Is it the bioidentical? No.
Those chambers that you're med beds.
Med beds.
That's right.
You think that?
Because they're supposed to be able to regrow, you know, if you're missing a part inside, to regrow it for you.
Right.
Like if you're missing teeth, regrow your teeth.
But I think that's Michael Levin's sort of ultimate goal. That's the way he's thinking in the future, in the far future.
Well, no, this med bed is not in the far future; it's here.
Yeah.
Yeah, but where are they?
Yeah, that's the question.
Where are they? Yeah, because
I need to get in one fast.
We could use them.
I can't wait till next week.
You know, it made me think Mary Shelley, like with the Frankenstein. Like it's almost like they were aware of this. Like, they have been, because it's in the artwork, it's in the buildings. But it seems to be that it was only certain ones, like, kind of really understood what it was.
Yeah, and Frankenstein was based on Prometheus.
That's right, yeah.
And then again, you can go back to, that all goes back to the creative energy and Zeus. And, you know, the formation of humanity and everything. It's really deep. Really.
Very deep. And it makes me think about like Zeus's lightning bolt and also Thor, like the thunder. I mean, that's electric. The storms that we can see, that's electric.
And the ancients knew it, and they
did, yeah.
In the heavens, they see it on the earth, and they felt it in their own bodies. That is what I believe they were trying to tell as well. So yeah, absolutely.
So tuning to your body is important.
Yeah.
Learning that maybe it's a musical instrument, like maybe it probably is, right?
Yes. Well,
like with the tuning forks, you can use different tuning forks on your body to do something.
Yeah, I've seen, like, I have some. Yep, I have the same ones. There's the human, like, tone and a bunch of different ones. Who was he? Trying to remember who it was.
And I have this Biztronic program. In fact, I just been using it to structure water.
Ooh.
Yeah. Is it Eric Pollard, is it?
Eric Pollard.
Is that his name?
Don't know.
I might have got that wrong. But there's a woman who uses the tuning forks as well. I've seen them both on the electric universe theory.
Okay.
Which is a good way to go. And they do an anatomical set in that. But I can't remember the lady's name. But she works with tuning forks to a high degree.
Yeah.
It's all about bioelectrics again and frequency.
Well, I think that's what the ancients would do. They would take you like into a room if you were sick. This is only what my thought patterning. They would maybe take you into a room like a stone room or whatever, or underground, and they would tone, or they would use a drum or something to get if a person was not well, to get them well. I might be nuts, but...
No, you're not nuts.
I think they were using everything.
Everything.
Using everything. Sound, light, darkness, acupressure, bathing, the whole holistic, everything holistic they were using. And I think they recorded it in their secret teachings and their artwork. Sorry.
Yeah,
because if they could sculpt like let's say an amethyst bed, and they could lay you on an amethyst bed or a crystal bed, and then, do whatever with the tuning forks or the toning or drumming, I would think that would be a magical experience.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's only my opinion.
There's a Russian scientist that started doing experiments with sound with patients, and he actually all kinds of sound, like trumpets, saxophone, as well as tuning forks and humming. He would have people come in and hum. And what was happening was that it was having an effect. It was actually helping people heal. Just having them in that kind of frequency and that vibration. So yeah, science is starting to kind of incorporate it in, and that's we need that. We need people to be more conscious either on. Well, that's my opinion. It's not my job to tell anybody what to do. If people would like to know more, there are ways to do it. There is information to get back, take back your power,
Yeah, there's more information now than I think any time in history.
Yeah.
For sure.
My God, way back when you had to send a note and it took 4 months to get to the person.
Yeah, exactly. I think that's
by the time they got it, it was old news.
Yeah, that's why the ancients recorded everything the way they did in the artwork and in the stonework. That's the passing on of message. Now we have like in a one way we have the Library of Alexandria to a degree on the internet, but we also have the ability to talk about it to a lot of people. Which, if you think about it, if someone found a secret or something really life-changing, say 200 years ago in a small village, they wouldn't be able to spread that information, especially if it wasn't that information.
Oh, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah, it wasn't. They didn't
gave somebody a note until they got there. It was old news.
Yeah. They immortalized it, like in the stonework and the paintings, and the secret teachings, all the mystery schools.
But somebody left out some of those secret teachings.
Well, I think we have an opportunity to find them now, I think we do. And I think we are, I
think it's about learning the allegories, I think. Once you learn allegory, and I know not everybody gets it, but once you get allegory and you start doing certain practices, then certain things start to fall in place. And hopefully some of my videos and some of my writing on Facebook will help.
Absolutely. Yeah, definitely. And that's what we need. We need people sharing what they're finding. And also we learn more, like, by sharing the information. Yes. I just think there's the potential here is limitless. It always has been, and it is even more so now. It's limitless.
Well, and the younger people have to learn this. But I believe he's younger.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, definitely. Yeah. And that's why it's good, because that's what we need. We need, young men. We need them to stand up, young women to start standing up. And we're tired. I'm tired. What about you, Madeline? We're tired.
I'm tired. I can't even keep my eyes open.
We need the new teachers.
Yeah.
They used to be coming of age rituals, didn't they?
That's right. Yeah.
About this in some of my writing, and I will be doing videos on this subject specifically. But they're coming of age rituals, and so the young people would learn in the fairy tales and in the mythologies the basics and the ethics of life, and then when they hit 12 or 13 they would be given a little more, and then when they hit 16 or 18 they'd be given perhaps the full teaching then, if they were ready, or 21 or whatever, perhaps 12 even, given the full lot. There you go. All that stuff we were talking about. Mm-hmm. Yes, it does relate to everything, to the heavens and to the stars and to the gods and to the earth and the animals, but it also relates to you and your body. And as their body's going through these changes, this information then would fortify the young people, would fortify, it was a way of explaining to them about their bodily changes and about what is to come and the importance of it, the sacredness of it, the whole thing. I think a lot of that has been lost, especially over the last 50, 60 years or 100 years even. Mm-hmm. A lot of that has been lost in, for whatever reason, but the whole media, the whole work ethic. And I'm not putting any blame on anything or anyone. It's just the way modern civilization has sped up and accelerated, which has got loads of benefits and has had a lot of benefits to it. But unfortunately, some of these things have been lost and left by the wayside. And I think with modern science, the way it's going now, and the revealing of lots of artwork and all the architecture and everything being available to the young people, there's a good chance that they can catch up super quick, and they can get onto it straight away, and you'll end up having lots of teachers, lots of young people picking up on it and running with it. And that's one of my hopes as well.
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh yeah. I would love to see it. I really would. I would love to see. I would love to see them become enthusiastic and excited about their life, going forward. I think there's a lot that has been taken from them.
Yeah, the fairy tale. All that sense of awe and wonderment is gone.
Right.
Well, really, and it's been made built But really, it isn't. And the beautiful thing, from what I see in the future, is this all going to be proven correct. And from my own experience, I should say really that I believe I've awoken my Kundalini. That's a metaphor. It's the nervous system basically waking up. These people are going to be able to experience that, and it's going to be blissful for them. And they're going to look back at the ancients, and they're going to look back at the way they taught, and see the allegories and the metaphors in everything, and all the fairy tales and the mythologies and the artwork and the buildings. And it's going to be like so beautiful for them to experience it personally and learn it at the same time. And that again is like one of my sort of ultimate hopes for the future.
Yeah, ours too.
Do I hear music? Yep, I hear the music.
We're coming up on a break. We're back, and you've been listening to Life in the Hologram on Revolution Radio. And just a reminder that we are listener supported, and we really appreciate your donations, because that's how you keep us on the air. And then we have a new, I wrote it down, but the Something Dragon Network.
Super Lucky Dragon Broadcasting.
There you go. And we need to have you donate to that too. So we're going to go live streaming, and then you can see all our faces. And we've got a lot of posts here on Revolution Radio, and we talk about all kinds of things, just like tonight, where we're talking with David, and he has such insights onto just all these wonderful things. And we have some fabulous guests coming up. Dr. Rita Louise is coming up next week, the 29th. We have Constant Victoria Briggs. And then we go into April. We have John Pagani, Mark Oley, Michelle Robert-Smith, Georgie Dean. She's our magical singer. Mm-hmm. And Russ Tanner. Yeah. And he's going to tell us what's making us sick from the sky.
You do such great work, Madeline, lining up all the guests. Like, I really appreciate it. So
I appreciate everything that you do. My God.
Well, we have our YouTube channel. We have that up. And right now, it's Caroline Bell Tumblety, but you'll find Life in the Hologram as well as Navigating the Truth there. I try to put the video up on YouTube the day after we've been live with the show. And Madeline has a Rumble channel, and the name of your channel is, what is it, Madeline? It's
Maddie Rue.
Maddie Rue, that's it. So Rumble is Maddie Rue, and I've started actually putting the videos that we are recording, I'm starting to put them up. And I'll get better at it. Like, I haven't kind of figured out how to edit them. Like, I've just been uploading them. Like, I edit the audio for YouTube. So I'm going to start working on editing the videos before I put them up to Rumble, because we can cut out like some of the beginnings and the middle and whatnot. Yeah.
For two old broads, young broads, we don't do too bad with technology.
You know, as I say, I've been like with the computers from the beginning. You know, like they've got more.
Far back I go?
How far do you go? Tell me.
Punch cards.
Punch cards. Yep. What, the time cards? Like punching in and out?
No.
No?
When you punch the cards in the computer.
Oh, wow. You go way back, Madeline.
That's ancient. That was always fun, too, when you had to take your cards over and put them in the thing, and the machine would sort them out. Mine went, woo! They went all over the darn room.
You know, I remember to make some extra money, I used to do the tax returns, like when I lived in the States. And that's what that was. It was all data. And it would just be a month of work. Like, it would be extra work that I'd be able to do. Yeah, I remember that. Oh, geez. I don't even think I could do that now. No. You know, it was so tedious.
Yeah. Yeah. And I used to have a job where the boss sat and watched you all day.
Oh.
I think I was doing $10 an hour worth of work, and he wanted you to do 15. And I got this rash, like from under my breast to my stomach. And it's like, wow. I got to get out of here.
Yeah, stress. Yeah. Oh, yeah.
How can you work when somebody's sitting there watching you all day?
Yeah, maybe he liked you, Madeline.
I doubt it.
When you think about it, you know, like some of the work situations I've been in, like, yeah. It's
you wonder how you got through it.
Wonder how I got through it, yeah. But we did go through it. I mean, like, I learned how to print with actual, like, cranking a machine and cranking out the flyers, and I would have to, like, order the stencil. Yeah, I would have to order the stencil, and then I would have to put it on, and then I would have to put the ink on all the different, and then I would crank it out.
How long did that job last?
Too long. And then photocopies came in, and that was it. It was obsolete. Like, the whole printing thing was done. It was all photocopy after that. Yeah. Sorry, go ahead, Madeline.
Go ahead.
No?
When you talked about photocopies, we had something exciting. My friend Brenda and I wrote a book for, my little grandson, who is 4. Anytime you ask him to do anything, it's no. So we wrote a book about the little boy. Well, it's really like a little dinosaur that says no. Joshua, the dinosaur that says no.
Oh. I bet he loves that. A book written for him.
You would think he would get out of that at 4. And he's soon going to be 5, but everything is no.
I
thought it was only 2-year-olds that did the no.
Maybe they're extending it. You know, maybe the kids have decided, no.
Maybe we can progress into the book of the little boy who said yes.
Yeah, and that was such a fast hour, the first half of the show. Thank you for all this great information you're sharing, David.
Yeah, and tell our listeners how they can get in touch with you, David.
Well, I've got a Facebook page called the Awen Spring, and I've got the same name then on a YouTube channel called the Awen Spring. Awen means inspiration in Welsh, but it's got a deeper meaning. It relates to the creative energy, the underlying energy.
So you're in the UK.
Yeah, I'm in Wales. So I'm in a small town in South Wales. Yeah. So you must know that in Pennsylvania. Pennsylvania's got quite a long history, I think, of the Welsh settling there.
Yeah, they do.
So I'm in Wales, basically, in the UK. And funnily enough, I sort of incorporate a lot of. I learned sort of basic Welsh in my early years, say up until about 12, but then I didn't follow up with it. But I got an interest then in it around the same time, basically, when I was coming out of work, 2017. And then synchronistically, I went to Llandilo, and I found in an old antique shop there, an old Welsh dictionary.
Wow.
This is it, yeah.
Wow.
That has led me into...
is that a whole different language? Well,
yeah. Yes, it is. Yeah.
We call it the language of the angels. That's what the old Welsh people used to call it. And it's quite a lot of similarities with, it's Indo-European. So it goes right back to Sanskrit, basically. And there's quite a lot of similarities between the Sanskrit and Welsh, Hebrew as well, and Welsh, and Greek, Latin. I mean, the predominant theory is that everything sort of migrated west, and so we are at the end, like the Welsh, the Brittonic languages, and the Gaelic is at the end of this like tree of languages.
Oh.
But I don't see it like that. I see in them as more of as a core or a root language like Sanskrit and Greek. Mm-hmm. It's just that I think these languages, well, I just say that they're deeply connected. That is for certain, you know. Everything else is speculation and interpretation. But there's so many similarities. And again, you can tie the etymology and the language in with the human body, the fairy tales, the mythologies, everything, really. I mean, the Welsh mythology is full of it. As far as I'm concerned, I've got a lot of videos planned for the future, which is going to go into that deeper. But the Arthurian legend, which is predominantly Welsh in its recordings, is steeped in symbology and has a lot of Welsh undertones to the words and the names, which all can be related to the same energy work, in my own opinion, as well as the heavens and the ways of life on the terrestrial world. Yeah, so Wales is an important part of my research, basically. It sort of synchronistically drove me forward with all the mythologies and the fairy tales and everything else.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing. Sorry, Madeline, go ahead.
I was just going to say, when you just start and going back in history to investigate all this stuff, you open up a lot of different things for information.
Yeah, there's lots of avenues to go down.
Mm-hmm. There's a lot of connections that get made that are you don't think are connected. Like, you start seeing, like, these things are all connected. Like the language, for one thing, the similarities between certain words in different languages are, it's not a coincidence, you know, it's not an accident. And it also has confused, like, because of the similarities with the languages and the spelling, and yet they would be in different parts, they would be representing different parts of the world. But that's where the confusion, I think, came in. When we can look at these paintings and these statues, and we can have the physical, you know, like the words a lot of the times have confused us, because we have the same word, or we have multiple words to describe the same thing. That's just my take on it. That's where I've got confused about things, that's for sure.
Yeah, it's all allegorical. There's lots of different hidden meanings to different words. Like you say, it's like layered.
Mm-hmm. It's layered, yeah. Yeah, definitely. Like, what's coming to my mind is one of the videos that you put together about St. David, or David and Goliath. And it was the word Goliath. Like, I think I mentioned that to you the other day there. Like, I thought that was really interesting, that word in the Welsh language basically meant death. It was because it was the cutting off of the head. So it was basically the life force. It was you can explain it better. You put the video together.
So in Welsh, I noticed there's an old Welsh word which isn't readily available, shall we say, now in the modern Welsh language. So certain words have been disappearing from the Welsh language, so which is another sort of driver for me to push forward with it. But one of the words I noticed was Goliath, and it's very similar to Goliath. And there's other words as well. And so in Welsh, Goliath means death. And so the allegory of David, from my own perspective, it's from the anatomical allegory then, not from a moral or ethical point of view, or from the terrestrial point of view, or from the heavenly or astronomical standpoint, but from an anatomical point of view and I approach it from like awakening the Kundalini or the human nervous system to its true potential. So David facing Goliath, the giant, the insurmountable problem, the difficult task, the mountain-like obstacle in your way, that represents death and fear. And so the Welsh language fortifies that in its word Goliath. And there's other, I want to go into depth, but one thing I can say is another Welsh word is Garth. Garth means a high place or a mountain in Welsh, and obviously Goliath is from Garth, so that's another little connection there. So when David defeats Goliath, he defeats death and the fear of death, and that's the way I approach it, because that is a central tenet of nearly all mystery school teachings. It's about the overcoming of the fear of death and the acceptance of life as it is, and the awakening to the fact that, the human body and the human nervous system and its energetic system has got far greater potential than most people realize. And so the decapitation of Goliath, decapitation is an ancient sign of energy loss, basically. Like from a male perspective, semen retention becomes difficult over a certain time scale, and then you have energy loss at night. They call it nocturnal emissions. So you're losing those wet dreams, in other words, in modern interpretation of it. But the ancients took it extremely seriously. We don't want to be losing energy. It's a battle. And this is Kali. Then, Kali's got the head hunter from the Vedic tradition. She cuts off the heads, and she's got the rack of heads around her shoulders, because it's Kali taking it in the dream world, in the night, taking the energy. Right. John the Baptist is the same. He's decapitated from an anatomical perspective. Now, I am not degrading any of the ancient ways, their ethical, moral, religious, astronomical or terrestrial laws or allegories. I'm just coming at it from a physiological perspective. So John the Baptist is the same. His head he's decapitated, and obviously he's the precursor to Christ. And Christ is the oil, or the Christos. That is the oil again, like I was talking about earlier.
Right, Soma, yeah.
And the Soma, the Amrita. So John, the precursor, lost his head, but then Christ came after him.
Right.
Didn't lose his head. He was tempted in the desert, for 40 days, 40 nights, which is another important number with regards to age and with regards to days. So 40 days semen retention is important, because you're definitely getting one moon to one moon then, you see, because the moon affects men as well, as far as I'm concerned. It isn't just like the cycles of women. And again, if people start practicing creative energy work from a male perspective, they will notice it. So they will notice that the moon affects their energies, especially when they sleep. So around the moon, you're more likely to get these.
Well, a lot of people go a little cuckoo at the full moon.
Well, lunar, right?
Lunatic, isn't it? And,
lunar.
An old name for Britain in Welsh an old name for Britain, like a fairy tale name, was Lloegr, and Lloegr is moon in Welsh, so it relates Britain to the moon. But as far as the human body goes, decapitation is an emblem of energy loss, and so the decapitation of Goliath represents that then, energy loss, death. Right. The death of the energy body that you're building. The Taoists call it the immortal fetus. You're pregnant with the energy, the miracle child. I will relate it to Christ, to Arthur, King Arthur, to Merlin, to Saint David as well is considered a miracle child. there's loads of different prophets and legendary figures. Horus in the Egyptian tradition, you know, they all relate back to this fundamental idea of the immortal fetus. You are building your own energy body, and it's about raising that energy then. And so at real death, it's not about becoming actually immortal, the body. It's about making your spirit immortal. So when you die, your spirit goes up through the bayou point at the top of the head. Mm-hmm. So it goes, it's the fontanelle or the vertex in like modern and scientific Western interpretation. This is the gap between the skull bones, the parietal bones, and the occipital bone in the back. There's a gap there. And
that's right. Yeah.
This energy needs to go up. So that's what the immortal spirit is all about. It's about becoming impregnated with your own energy through saving your energy and working with the creative energy through sexual energy work and creative energy work. And then your life is immortal then, because you go back up into the heavens and into the whole, you know, the bioelectrical, electromagnetic
field.
Yeah. So, and you're back, rather than, you know, not going up. And so that's what a lot of it is about. A lot of the allegories, a lot of the metaphors are about this.
Yeah.
And it's not just in Taoist texts and Buddhist texts and in Egyptian texts and in like Greek and Roman and Hebrew and the Arabic, in Islam, in Zoroastrian texts. It's in the oral laws of the Druids. Mm-hmm. It's in the oral laws of the Norse teachings, you know, with Heimdallr and Odin, the Tree of Life, Yggdrasil. Heimdallr sits at the end of the Bifrost Bridge, which is the spinal column, you know. Sits at the top of the mountain, Himmelsbjörg, and that is, the mountain is the body. You know, Moses goes to the top of the mountain to receive the law. He comes down with horns of light, which is the raising of the energy.
Right.
So that's what it, the whole thing is based on.
His hair turned white too, didn't it?
His hair turned white, yeah.
Yeah. His hair turned white. There's loads of different allegories and metaphors that can be.
When you mentioned Kali, and like that is what, like, one of the famous like kind of depictions here is her holding the heads, or she has the heads all kind of strung around her like the statue, like with all the hands and the legs. You know that is actually what, like, CERN, like is it Sweden or Switzerland, that CERN is like that particle machine.
Yeah, I think it's
in Sweden? You know that when you walk into that building, that's the first thing you see is a statue of Kali May.
No, that's Shiva.
Oh, Shiva, that's right.
Shiva doing the dance.
Shiva, yeah.
And Shiva, I think Kali is Shiva's wife. His wife, I think it's his wife, Parvati, is the good side of it. Yep. Shakti and Durga is the opposite, the destructive side.
That's right.
Shiva.
Maybe it was Indian people that designed the building.
So,
well, they had ancient technology, you know, like they wrote about it, right?
Oh,
back
absolutely.
that Viva, yeah. They talked about a battle that took place in the heavens.
Absolutely.
Yeah, they all talked about it as well, didn't they?
Yeah, fire chariots. Yeah.
Even the Native Americans.
That's right.
Bhagavad Gita. Bhagavad Gita. And then you've got, obviously, the angels of the biblical teachings. Mm-hmm. You've got the Olympians and the Titans of Greece.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Ragnarok.
Vanir and the Aesir of the Norse. Mm-hmm. So all this goes back to like a battle in ancient times. You know, I think, like you say, it relates back to ancient technology. The stonework I go to rather than like super like flying machines and things. Maybe not, but the technology of like designing those buildings.
Oh yeah,
and
yeah.
dip stones.
Mm-hmm.
How they did that in ancient times is
still a mystery. Still
yes,
a big mystery. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. It's really amazing. And like when we were talking about like frequencies and vibrations, I thought about Roslyn Chapel.
Yeah.
And how that was constructed. Like there was somebody, they were musicians who recorded an album there, and it was because the acoustics were so unusual, and it didn't matter where you were in the chapel, the acoustics sounded like really amplified. Like you could be way in the back, you could be way in the front, you could be anywhere, and it was like it vibrated all
surround sound.
Sound, yeah.
It's like Madeline was talking about earlier, like all the cathedrals and everything about as well, aren't they? For the harmonics to affect the body in a way, But
and where they built them as well, like they actually built them on really ancient, ley lines.
Yeah.
It was all constructed in such a way as to enhance. Like
I wonder what Georgie would sound like in the Rosalind Chapel.
Georgie,
that would be extraordinary. Georgie Dean.
I bet you. Yeah, maybe that is something today in the future. Georgie Dean is going to be a guest.
Yeah.
I think is it like 5 weeks? And she does like
29th.
angelic singing.
Yeah.
So I wonder if she would even consider like going there and recording.
I bet she would.
Yeah.
The 26th.
26th of April?
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm looking forward to that.
Me too. A lot of exciting guests coming up.
Yeah. Yeah. And we still have one right here. Yeah.
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 He's exciting too.
Yeah, this has been really fun. So it has it's just I get excited about it, because it is breathing life into to the ancients. They've been too long ignored, that this is their ancestors, we are them, they were us. So anything that we can bring it back, it's not bringing back because you're actually infusing it with fresh. It's actually a fresh approach.
Refreshing the information.
Yeah, refreshing
it. Lost.
Yeah, yeah. And I hate for the young people. I worry about them. I worry about the young. I really do. But there is guidance. There is information available, and like shows like this, what you're doing with your videos. I'm so glad that you're doing it. Like you've got them up there, and they're like 10 minutes, 11 minutes, 9 minutes, and there's so much information in them, and you have a really good energy. Like there's nothing negative. It's just very positive. And we need more of that, I think. What do you think, Madeline?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. We have to bring up the energy.
Bring it up. Yeah. Let's start bringing it up.
Yeah.
It's really interesting, I'm discovering things that I never even imagined, about our own, ancestry.
Yeah. Do you know Mark Oley?
Mark Oley?
He's going to be coming on the show. He does a lot of the things that you do, but he's written about 6 or 7 books, and he gives tours over at Stonehenge.
Ooh, okay. I don't know him.
He's somebody you ought to meet, David, actually. He's in the UK.
Yeah, I'd love to meet him. Absolutely.
He's an amazing guy.
I think that'll happen. I think that will happen. I see more of that happening. I do. Like groups. Like I think I was talking to you about that, David. Like they have these these seminars, where they'll get all these different speakers together. Like they do it in the States, and they do it here as well. But I'm thinking, why? I could do it right here. You know, like
You could.
do it right here. And there's so much.
And Michael Feely.
Michael Feely.
Yeah.
Yeah. I like, you know me, Madeline. I don't agree with everybody. You know.
Oh, they all have something to say. They're all doing
They all have
research
something to say. They do. Yeah,
in
absolutely.
a certain area, and just like David here, you know, and and once they start going, they get more and more and more different information.
Yeah, and they build on it.
Yeah.
And they share it, which is good. Yeah, they don't keep it to themselves, like we won't mention, like the ones that have been doing this for hundreds of years. But
what is it to keep it to yourself?
Keep it to yourself. Oh, there are incidences where we do. I think it is required, like that we keep certain things to ourselves. Yeah, but no knowledge that's going to actually help and benefit others. Like that's no.
Yeah, I think it's important now, especially like the things that our young people are going through. That they are given the keys to the kingdom, like, you know, not they shouldn't be withheld. You know, more people who know some of this stuff should be speaking out about it at this time. You know, it's an important time, I think.
Take a stand, yeah.
For this information to be given out. You know,
and to stop denying it, you know, like that we actually have a field. We have a field that is not just inside the body, it actually goes all the way around and it is affected daily. And
it can be heightened. It can be heightened and it can protect against, you know, viruses, pathogens, diseases. It can protect against negativity if you wanted to. It can protect against doubt, you know, anger or whatever. You know, that's what it's all about. That's what the Buddhists were teaching. That's what the Taoists were teaching. It's about building that
energy
shield. Yeah, that shield. And it's, you know, if now isn't the right time for our young people to learn these secret teachings, you know, they weren't secret so long ago. Now they're more secret than they were before.
I think they need a moral compass. Because
this gets it. Yeah,
that's what I'm saying. Yeah, because a lot of them are like, I don't know what's going on with them.
It's been a free for all, Madeline, hasn't it? You know, with and I don't say media. What can I say? With the just the freedom of it's too much freedom. It's not good. You know, we need some direction.
There's too much stimulation.
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah.
Seeking the next thrill. Yeah.
Plus the loss of these ancient teachings, like we said, that they used to be passed on from parent to child or from master to student. It's all been lost. The advancements of science is great, but you know, it's gone too far ahead. There has to be like a spiritual and ethical side of it. And from my perspective, the spirit is energy. And so you have to connect the spirit, you have to heighten your energy. You know, this is why, you know, all the ancient institutions were so thin on physical activity. And if you're not good at physical activity, just stretch. You know, you don't have to jump up and go running for miles. Just stretch the body. This is what yoga is about. It's all about heightening the nervous system. And when you start working with the creative energy, you have to do these things. Otherwise, you lose the energy. You get decapitated. You know.
I think I'm decapitated.
Yeah. In an allegorical sense. You know, you lose your energy if you don't stretch, if you don't rest, if you don't diet correctly, if you don't environment, if you don't do all these things that the ancients were doing, then you lose the energy. But the young people now, more than ever, and it was again another real reason why I decided to go, right, yes, I'm going to do this. It was a number of reasons, a number of synchronistic happenings that occurred. But then, you know, seeing everything that was being put out and the confusion, the mass, you know, amount of media that's available. You know, I know what mine is just a drop in the ocean, but I thought it'd give me the confidence and the strength to go out and do it.
Mm-hmm. I'm glad you
Absolutely.
did. Yeah, yep. And continue to do it, and just expand on it.
Yeah, I'm going to continue to do it the best I can.
Yeah, yeah. Well, yeah, it's time. There's no, like, as you say, it's a great work, and it's been going on for as long as I've been here, as long as Madeline's been here. We've been aware that there is a great work afoot, and we're at the, I think it's accumulating, and maybe we're getting ready for like a renaissance, like an enlightening,
Yeah, I think so.
like that we need it.
Somebody
It's
needs to
time.
get enlightened soon.
Hmm. Yeah.
Real soon. In the next 3 minutes.
No, yep. Yeah. I just like when I was a child, all I did was read fairy tales. Like, I mean, there was a big chunk of my life I was not interested in anything other than a fairy tale. And it was like, I remember going through my library and they were colored, the books. It was the yellow fairy tale book. It was the green fairy tale book, the violet fairy tale book. I read every single one of them over and over and over. They were the only things that made any sense to me, for one thing. Like, because the world I had in my own mind space, imagination, was very much fairy tale like. But what I saw in the outer world was quite a contrast. So yeah, I have like big contrast. It still is, but I do still see beauty. I see beauty in a river. I'll see daffodils right now.
Mm-hmm.
How
Yeah.
beautiful are the daffodils, the crocuses, snowdrops, like what is it, the lily of the valley, the smell, like the scent, the lily of the valley. Like, I really, really like it. So the birds, they're all starting to sing early in the morning, and they're calling back and forth. And I immediately think about Bambi, and they're all Twitter-pated, like this is what it is. They're letting them know, hey, let's build a nest, and life goes on.
Isn't it early though for those birds to be building nests?
I think the seasons have shifted.
The 15th.
The seasons have shifted over the years, and we haven't kind of corrected our times on them. That's how I see it. Like, I noticed a shift with just my plants on my windowsill.
Yeah.
That the light is different. Well, I don't even know if it's different or if it's just it's been such a gradual thing that we never really noticed the shift. It is shifted. Like, spring starts here in February. Like, it doesn't start at the end of March. It's well underway in February.
Yeah,
and it's been like
that. Are starting to sprout here.
Mm-hmm. We've already had some of the apple blossoms on the trees. Yeah, we've already had it. The flowers. Yeah. And that's usually a month later. So I think we're
cherry blossoms down in Washington really early this year.
I love the cherry blossoms. I love them. Yeah.
It's the only thing good in Washington.
It's the cherry blossoms. But there's still a lot of beauty here. There is. Even though they have tried hard. They have tried hard.
Yeah, I mean, when I watch my PBS shows and those dales and all the beauty over in the UK, oh God.
We are fortunate. We really are. Like, where David is in Wales is like stunning. And where I am in Scotland, it's breathtaking.
But I want to get to Europe. I told my granddaughter, I says, I'm going to tell you this right now. I'm going to Europe, and if I can't walk, you're going to push me in a wheelchair.
You're that determined. Well, you want to visit Roslyn Chapel, There's a lot you want to visit. You want to visit Stonehenge.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a lot. You know,
Plus,
when
I
you
want to
meant,
meet all the people that I've had on the radio show.
yeah,
That would be a party.
Yeah, do it.
yeah, definitely do it. Yeah. I want to meet you. I want to meet you in person.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a lot of people I had on the show from the UK.
I told David that you
A lot.
interviewed like 800. What was it? You sent me the number for when you worked
About
at.
856 people.
Yeah. And that's only a little. That like there was other shows. You know, that's only like a small piece. That's a lot of people, Madeline.
I
Yeah.
know.
Wow.
That's a lot of people.
Yeah, we did like 2 shows for 8 years.
Yep. Yeah.
Well, even Solaris, she interviewed a lot of people too.
Oh yeah, like well, she had been doing the Friday night there on KCOR and the Saturday night there in Revolution Radio. And
Yeah.
I mean, I talked to people that Solaris had as guests, and they talked about having a 9-month waiting list to go onto her show, like just a few years ago. That was
and
how
that's
it was.
on a Friday night here. We have Solaris comes up at 5, 5 to 7, then we come 7 to 9, and then you go 9 to 10.
Yeah. What was it you called us? The Holy Trinity? And this is late for you, David. Like, well, we're on the same time.
Yeah.
It's late. Yeah, it's late. I appreciate it.
I never used to, but I follow quite a let's say rigid. It's not rigid really, but I follow a certain routine basically. So I eat at certain times because of some of my health issues and things. I go to sleep at a certain time. So sleep has become a big thing for me. You know, the dream world. I see the way the ancients taught was all about entering the dream world. You know, that's what it was about, the other world. I've got a video to do on this subject. I've done a write-up on Facebook on it, but it goes right back to like Egypt. They had dream chambers where they used to go to dream, to go into the other world. I've related to other things there, but I've got quite an important video to do on that, so I won't go too deep into that. But you get you have the Asclepions, which were like in Greece, the god Asclepius was like the god of health and also dreams in a way. There's another one, Morpheus. But sick people would go to these Asclepions, these temples, and they would bathe the whole holistic, diet, everything. They would prepare them, and then they would prepare them for sleep, and they would sleep in the temple, and then they would wake up, and they would give the Asclepius priests their visions, their journeys through the other world, and they would interpret them then to see what health, in which ways they could help them in health ways, So in other words, they were getting messages. I would say from their subconscious, but we could say from Asclepius, from whichever god, from Morpheus, from whoever, but the Asclepians as well. So that was that's a big sort of sleep center in Greece. So the Greeks were doing it. The Norse had a practice called sleepia uti, where someone would go and sleep out a certain sacred area, and they would talk to the gods in their sleep. Same thing. The Welsh have the Awen and it's another reason why I called my YouTube channel and my Facebook page Awen Spring. So Awen that means someone who goes out to sleep and they contact the Awen, the hand of God.
I must be going on vacation in my sleep because I go to a lot of different hotels.
You must have you been to a lot of hotels in your life?
Well, yeah, I used to work in hotels. But I mean, in my dreams, I go to different hotels.
I know, like, you had actually shared that dream with me the other week there.
I had a dream that I was on a plane with Solaris, and this plane was so huge. I mean, it had like 12 seats across.
Wow.
And we were going to China.
Wow. That's kind of cool. Yeah, that's a long flight.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I know. I've been on a flight to Thailand, but yeah. And then, or else I'm in a market shopping for food. Weird.
Yeah.
Or driving in the car, or I lost my car.
Yeah, I get lots of I was getting really intense, vivid dreams, and so that was another part of the whole thing of pushing forward. And I notice as well the creative energy enhances that.
Yeah.
So the further into the practice you go,
it's like a switch goes on. Yeah.
The more vivid your dreams become, the more the more aware you become in your dream.
Lucid. Yeah.
Yeah, and the more intentional interaction you can have in your dreams. You know, you're, I wouldn't say completely in control at all, but it's you've got that focus in your dream, whereas you can you can actively interact and pick up things that you want to pick up and learn things that you learn, or remember, take in things that you're supposed to take in.
Right.
I spend a lot of time too with dead people.
You're visiting. Yeah. You're visiting.
Yeah.
A lot of my friends are in the hereafter.
You're visiting them. Yeah. I wonder if that is what vision quests are about, like with the natives. It's like the dream. Yeah, they're going out to. Yeah, it is. Yeah, it's like, and the dynamic dream of the Aborigines dream time.
Yeah, I think
I like to sleep.
All of the ancients were doing it.
Yeah,
they were all stationing themselves and building themselves up to access the other world, the dream world. It was an extremely important part of their lives, I think.
Yeah, like how we could think that it's not important, I don't know. Like how we got to that point, I don't. Like,
before we had the cell phone that occupied our time, mine was I would go to sleep. When in doubt, I went to sleep.
Yeah.
I was waiting to go somewhere. I go to sleep. It was time to go.
Yeah, sleep is really regenerating. I've looked right into the science of it as well.
Oh yeah.
There's loads of different. They've found something now called the lymphatic system in the brain, and the lymphatic system is like the sewerage. Well, it's the immune system basically of the body. So that clears out all of the toxins and does all sorts, alkalizes the body. But now they've found hurrah! It's for me, it's sort of common sense really to a degree. The brain is also getting cleaned on a nightly basis.
They actually said
melatonin.
That blueberries help regenerate brain cells.
Blueberries?
Yeah, it's got a lot of tannins in it and a lot of polyphenols, I think, the blueberries.
And the lymphatic system, I don't know why, but every time somebody has cancer and they go in to take something out, they always screw around with that lymphatic system.
Yeah, it's the immune system.
I don't know why. Because you need those lymph nodes to...
Your glands, your lymph nodes. Yeah. You need them.
That's another thing is with the creative energy and with acupressure, like Michelangelo was alluding to, I believe. It helps the lymph system pump because we haven't got any pumps. The frog, this is a bit of odd information, but the frog has lymph hearts, and I believe it's one of the reasons why it was sacred to like the Egyptians and things. But it pumps, but we haven't. But acupressure can help it. Again, we get our lymph nodes around like the joints, so it's like they're like gateways basically of the lymph system, cleaning the cells and the interstitial fluid of the body. And so at our elbow, at our shoulders, in our groin, and at our knees, and in our neck, the lymph nodes are. So acupressure, at a massage at those points, really helps, and that's all through like Taoist teachings and Vedic teachings. Hitting the
right. Yep.
the different points, and acupressure as well, and massage really helps to get that all flowing. But sleep as well is just as important.
When I learned shiatsu, I learned it in Philadelphia, and Philadelphia was about 50 minutes from where I lived. So after I would go there, and then we would practice on each other, and I'd be coming home, and you get a lot of energy.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, oh God, now I got to go to sleep.
I used to get hungry. Whenever I did any kind of energy work, I would get really hungry after it. Like ravenous hungry.
Yeah.
Yeah. You want to give your information again, David? Soon we're going to hear the music.
What information, Madeline? Sorry.
How our listeners can get in touch with you.
Right, yeah, it's Facebook, basically. Facebook has all my links. So Facebook, Awen Spring, and it's YouTube channel by the same name.
Dragon.
The Greenwood Dragon.
It's the Greenwood Dragon. I like dragons. See, that's another one, right? When they're battling with the dragon, like when that's depicted in a lot of the ancient stuff. It's connecting with the energy. It's the right. We have
heaven in the Far East, or heaven.
The symbol of heaven. Yeah.
Electricity, symbol of thunder, electric. And when the heroes battle the dragon in the West, that's another one of my videos. It's I say it's the allegorical battle with the creative energy. To defeat the dragon is to master your own body, basically.
And there's the music.
There's the music. Well, thanks for listening to Life in the Hologram on Revolution Radio. We appreciate you. And come back next Friday with another exciting show with me and Caroline.
And thank you, David. Have a great night.
Thank you, David.
Thank you.
Thanks.